Godzilla fans have been going crazy lately, wondering when Legendary will drop the next Godzilla trailer, but I'm betting that they will continue to hold on to it until films start showing to mostly full theaters again. So with Legendary waiting for the right time to drop the Godzilla vs. Kong trailer, Toho Studios, or rather Toho Animation, would step up to the plate and deliver, giving us the Godzilla Singluar Point trailer. The official synopsis given for the series reads as follows. When danger comes up from the depths, only young geniuses Mei, Yoon, and their team can face the threat in Godzilla Singluar Point. Take a first look at next year's new series featuring the classic monster. Singluar Point will consist of 13 episodes and will premiere in Japan first, like the last anime did, in April of 2021. And if the turnaround time from films to Netflix is like the trilogy was, it should take about 2 months for it to air outside of Japan. So with that out of the way, let's break down the footage that we have. To avoid any copyright claims, we'll just be looking at still images, but the trailer is up here on YouTube for you to watch in full. We open up with a quick shot of Godzilla, and his mouth is open and it's charging up what looks to be a blue atomic blast. Surrounding him is a thick red mist or fog that's gotta be the main point to the series, as you're gonna see it pop up a lot in this trailer. Next we see a pteranodon-looking creature soaring above the city with what looks like the red mist coming out of or off of it, almost like airplane contrails. Rodan instantly comes to mind here when looking at this thing, but I still think the possibility exists that a full-size Rodan is still out there. We then see quick flashes of the show's main protagonists, Mei and Yoon, and then we have someone holding up some kind of flower encased in a small clear plastic-like substance. Could this flower be related to the red mist? And now for a friend who's been away for far too long, Jet Jaguar. He's a bit bigger than the small form of his Showa film counterpart, and this one looks like a more realistic build, and his art style seems to be inspired by some of the early Japanese robots. Next up is a tail coming out of a red body of water as it swipes at a guy hanging from a helicopter. We only see the end of the tail, but it does look like the tail of Manda in his Final Wars concept image. This next one really threw me off. I even thought that it may be Baragon at first. But I was watching the trailer with a bunch of guys over on the Monstrosities Tokusatsu stream here on YouTube, and when people said Gabara, I couldn't unsee it. This totally looks like a cooler, updated take on Gabara. And it should also be noted that the concentration of the red smoke or mist around Gabara here is really thick. But we still don't have enough information to say yet for sure if it comes from the monsters, just that it's usually present with kaiju in the footage. The next shot has to be of Angurius while he's chasing a guy in a truck who looks like he's trying to hit the monster with a harpoon of some sorts. I really like what they did with old Angurius here. He finally looks like the badass that he was meant to be, although he does look a bit small with the truck in frame for a size reference, or when looking at other kaiju in the trailer with items in frame to compare to, like these next two in the ocean, where we see something in the water along with some sinking warships. The small appendages of the kaiju had me thinking Ebra at first, but the surface of the monster looks like it has skin and not a hard shell, instead making me think that this could be Manda with his whiskers and long snake-like body. But whatever it is, there's two of them here, with a second one in the background. It's hard to make out here with YouTube's compression, but on my big screen, I could really look at the guy in the back, and it clearly had the same clawed arms hanging below it that the one in the foreground has. This opens the possibility that the Pteranodon or mini Rodan guys aren't the only monsters that are singular. And speaking of those flyers, here's one, mouth open wide, showing off its rows and rows of teeth. Next up we have a quick shot of what looks to be an older black and white photo with a man standing in front of either an image of jellyfish or a tank full of live ones. And this gives me strong vibes of Dr. Serizawa from 1954's Gojira. This next kaiju has a strong Titanosaurus feel to it, especially in its color palette when compared to the Showa dinosaur. It's jumping out of the blue water over a warship with red water trailing off of it, and on closer examination, the dorsal fins on it near the head are shaped like Godzilla's dorsal spines. Is this a simple design choice or something more? And could it be related to the strange red mist? Next up we have some kind of sound recorder. And then another shot of the Pteranodon-like flyer, except now it's in a group of them, flying over New York City, with the red mist present but not really coming off of or from the flyers, unlike the one seen earlier in the trailer. Perhaps this one was one of these guys here after it flew through the mist, causing the trails behind it. And here we have some kind of enormous facility with humans for scale and giant arms over some kind of opening or hatch on the floor. Could this be a base for some kind of mechanized monster? I can't help but think of Kiryu's base when seeing this. Which brings us to this image, which looks to me like it's an old painting of some kind, showing a massive fish swimming in red water. The way the teeth and eyes are portrayed in the image makes me wonder if this is some kind of ancient representation of Godzilla, or something else, possibly caused by the red water. I say that because in many monster films, ancient images are there to warn us of future dangers. And this could be foretelling the events that we see here in the trailer. And I know that this thing may just be a fish and not the big G. It's hard to tell from some guy's painting, but either way, they don't just show this image here. They then focus in more on the Japanese lettering, which I unfortunately at the time of making this can't find a translation for. But if you look at the upper right of the image here, what do you guys see? Well, to me, I see that our guy in the painting has Godzilla-like dorsal spines. This is either the big G or something growing spines like his, like what we saw with the Titanosaurus looking kaiju. We then see our anime heroes once more, and one more last image of Godzilla, once again in the extremely thick cloud of red mist or smoke. And that's the end of the trailer, so what's my impression on it? Well, to be honest, I think it looks amazing. This just has a more traditional anime feel to it when compared to the trilogy. They both use CG, but it doesn't look as prevalent here. The colors used are more vibrant, and the kaiju don't look like they're dodging screen time. The red mist is obviously the main focus. It has something to do with the kaiju and appears the thickest around Godzilla and Gabara, but I'm betting it's the thickest around the big G, and Gabara is just unlucky enough to be near him in that shot. Could the red water and smoke be tied to the dangerous red algae blooms seen from time to time here on Earth? Godzilla films have always had some kind of environmental or biological issues at their core, so it wouldn't surprise me if it's tied somehow to current ecological events. I've heard of the fears that ancient viruses and other pathogens could be released from waters that have been frozen for eons, an effect of climate changes on the planet, so I wouldn't be surprised if the red mist is something brought on by mankind. And that's all that I've got for right now on the first trailer for Godzilla Singluar Point. I think it's going to be an amazing series and I can't wait to see it. It just feels like Godzilla has always been a good fit for anime, and it's good to see Toho taking another swing at trying to make it appeal to the masses. And now I'd love to hear your thoughts on the trailer. Like, what do you think about the kaiju seen so far in the footage? If these really are the monsters that I think they are, then Toho went pretty deep into their Showa stable, which I love. Yet it also tells me that if they brought back Gabara looking this good, then anything and any Toho monster is fair game for the series. I personally would love to see modern takes of other Showa monsters, with Hedorah being high up on my list. But I also hope that they mix in some kaiju from the Heisei and Millennium eras too, like Biollante and Orga. And since we know that Mothra and Ghidorah are likely to make appearances, I hope that they use less common iterations of them, like Mothra Leo and Des Ghidorah, to change things up. And let me know of any theories that you guys have on the red mist. We don't really know much about it yet, but it's front and center throughout the trailer, so I'd love to hear your thoughts on what you think it is. And with that said, I hope you guys are excited about Singluar Point as I am. Thanks for watching. Your likes, shares, comments, and subscriptions go a long way towards helping the channel grow. Take care, and I hope to see you next time.